Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm back in my baby, a vehicle that I guess I'm kind of famous for. It's the Tier 7 British medium tank. It is the Comet, and it's got to be my all-time favourite vehicle in World of Tanks. Now I know I say that quite a lot. I say, oh, this is my favourite tank, that's my favourite tank. Tastes change, right? And when you play as many games of World of Tanks as I do, sometimes the meta shifts a little bit, or sometimes maybe just feeling a certain thing in your life at that period. And tanks kind of come and go as to what I want to play. I basically didn't play this tank for 6 months, but I've been giving it another go recently, and I've just realized that, you know, when you're pretty good at something, why not just go with it anyway? And I don't know what it is about the Comet. Maybe it's the 12 degrees of gun depression this has. That was all the more impressive before the Swedish medium tanks. Well, at least, shall we say, things like the Stridsvagn 74 went into the game. Before that, the Comet really was very novel. You'd have to go down to Tier 5 and play something like an M4 Sherman, and then with a 76 or a 75mm to have 12 degrees of gun depression. Or of course you could get in a tank destroyer like the Sturra Mill, but yeah, then you'd have to be playing the Sturra Mill. What else I like about the Comet is that while its gun doesn't do the most damage, it has 140, or is it 145? Oh god, I should really know that when you think about it. 140 alpha damage and 148mm of penetration. Now that's really not very good for Tier 7. A tank like the Panther is now packing 200mm of pen. A tank like the T20 has got 240 alpha and 160mm of pen, and if you dab that 2 key in the T20, your pen goes up to 240. What I love about this vehicle is that its DPM is a lot higher than those tanks. Well, maybe not so much higher than the Panther these days, but definitely way higher than the T20. It's 2,153, and that's enough to make a Tier 8 medium tank blush. And so if you manage to penetrate with the Comet, and sometimes to be able to do so, you do have to dab that 2 key and compensate for its rather lackluster penetration. So I wouldn't really recommend this tank as a credit maker. But when you do load the premium rounds, then you can compensate, is what I'm saying. And so it's this combination of having good mobility, 380 meters view range, which is enough to be able to play the scouting role for your team as well, with at least enough armor. You know, its armor isn't great. It's got 101mm on the turret and 76 on the front of the hull. So if you are using your gun depression, then you are going to be able to ricochet tanks in a matchup like this. Talking about a matchup like this, we just killed our first tank of the enemy team, and we've already lost over half of our team. In fact, only 8 remain, or is it 7 remain? Sorry, 7 remain on our team and 14 on the enemy, so we're already outnumbered 2-1. But when I get to work the Comet on a ridgeline like this, hopefully it's not going to stay that way for very long. So this is where that 12 degrees is just awesome. You get to expose just a small amount of your tank, and so on a ridgeline, you can just keep shooting tanks when hopefully they can't see you. And just take a look how small the forehead is on the Comet as we shut down the T-34-100. When I say forehead, I mean kind of the distance between the gun and the top of the tank. And when that is a very small in height, that means there's so much less of your tank for the enemies to shoot when you are depressing your gun. So that means that with less of your tank exposed, you can just work ridgelines like a total boss. And when you got the DPM to boot to go with it, oh yeah, it's alright. Another thing that is pretty cool about this vehicle is it's got 0.34 accuracy. It's not exactly amazing, but it's certainly not terrible. So I just feel okay with clutching in the shots on this tank. And sure, I've got an epic crew on this vehicle, fully pimped out. I like to use pudding and tea, which I do think, if there's one tank that I would probably use pudding and tea on, it would probably be the Comet. But back to what I'm doing right now. So obviously, when you're outnumbered, it's a case of trying to kill as many tanks as you possibly can as quickly as you can. And the reason why I went up on the hill here is because, well, I was probably going to have to deal with 3 or 4 vehicles that were making their way over the bridge, because the 2 heavies on my team seem hell-bent on progressing west against an Oni. Wow, 2 clutch shots there into the top of that T-67. We shut him down. He was already on 3 kills. He was having a bit of a round. And this is what I like to do in my Comet. You just expose a tiny amount of your tank, but unfortunately we get penned in the top there, and also by the M42 in the side. But that's why I guess we've saved enough of our hit points to take those, shall we say, bad beats or some bad RNG there, and we can shut down the Stug, and we've put our team almost right back in the game there with those 4 kills. Now I did have some support. There's no way that I probably would have been able to get through this with as many hit points as I did if it wasn't for that graveyard of tanks that we have just below us on our right. Oh yes, KV-1. Doesn't even look like this poor little thing can see us. What's that tank got? 330 meters base view range? He's at what? 275 meters, so I guess I've got about maybe 10%, 20% camo rating, not 20%, maybe about 10, just over 10 when I'm firing in this vehicle, because of course you've got a rather low caliber gun, and when you've got a low caliber gun, you don't lose quite as much camo rating when you fire. Now I didn't really like that trade. That Stridsvagn M42 could actually elevate his gun way higher than I thought. I didn't think that the gun on that tier 5 Swedish medium tank was going to be quite so painful for me, but nevertheless a top gun, 3,500 damage now. And so what am I thinking? Well, now I'm a one-shot for the ELC AMX if the ELC AMX uses the 90mm, and also I'm just terrified of the AMX 12T because that's got an autoloader and it will be taking me down in 2 shots, and it can put them out, I guess, within about 2.5 seconds of the first shot. But the AMX has actually been spotted, and oh gosh, the AMX is on full health, and this is where I was massively concerned because I thought at the time, if I leave my 2 heavy tanks alone with that AMX 12T, well, he is just going to clean them up, especially with the support of the Hummel. But it looks like the Hummel actually missed there. Well, maybe splashed a little bit as one of our tanks was stunned. The AMX does a drive-by and takes out our tier 6 Japanese premium heavy tank. But this is where I reload an APCR round, not because I need the extra penetration, because I thought the shell velocity would be key. And right now I cannot afford any misses as we put one into the rocks there. But hopefully we got this AMX trapped. There you go, got him. A little bit of a movement to the left and the right there. Not sure whether he was going to pull backwards and forwards. I think I was double guessing myself. But immediately after shutting down the AMX, it's about getting into cover from the artillery and thinking where that light tank is going to be coming from. Now, considering the ELC AMX ran away from me on top of that hill when he saw me shut down the T-67 and the Stug, he could be anywhere right now. Clearly ran this way, so I thought that the ELC AMX would have gone and engaged the heavies, but instead he's made his way around here. So where's the ELC gone? He could have gone anywhere, I guess, at this stage. The tank goes at 60 kilometers an hour, and it has a cracking pound to weight ratio. So I'm just basically trying to make sure as I slowly advance, I work the ridgelines, I try to extend my view range, just keep looking around and keep prepared. And there he is, there's the ELC AMX, luckily on 20 hit points. So that means he's a one-shot for me, he's a one-shot for the T-29. And so I'm actually about to make a really big mistake here. Obviously, I don't want to allow the ELC AMX to go after the T-29, but I allow him to shoot me. Now, if I had not been so lucky, that ELC AMX would have shut me down, and then the T-29 would have been in a 1 versus 2 situation. But luckily for me, the ELC AMX was tracked, doesn't quite have the elevation to be able to aim up there, unlike the Stridsvagn did earlier, and so I'm able to shut him down and pick up 8 kills, killing over half of the enemy team so far. But just look at where that shell did go in. Well, I guess I wasn't very right about the forehead of the Comet there. Didn't expect that tier 5 French light tank to get me. Now, in that situation, it would have been far more intelligent if I had just kept proxy spotting the ELC AMX. That's where I should have zoomed out, had a look at his turret, and as long as the ELC is looking at me, I should have allowed the T-29 to come in to pick up the kill. And then if the ELC turns to face the T-29, then of course I turn to engage him, or I pull over the ridge and hopefully take him out before he kills my T-29, or he could miss, he could bounce. But by going over the ridgeline before the T-29 was in position, I was giving myself a chance to lose the game. You've got to try and eliminate those errors, eliminate those opportunities to lose. That's what I was talking about during my guard video from I think a week ago now. And this is another one of those situations. If you outnumber an artillery at the end of the game, what should you do? Should you go in one by one and allow the Hummel to relocate, reload, and get lucky against you twice, or should you go in at the same time? So while it will take me an extra minute or so, I want that T-29 to come in along with me. And I'm sure the cynics out there will be going, wow, you just want the T-29 to go first, so he takes the artillery hit for you. No, well, you think what you want. But at the time I was thinking, I just want to win this. I've already got a Radley Walters medal. This kill doesn't really matter too much. It's just about securing the victory, and yeah.
We're done for. Everyone get out.
We're done for. Everyone get out. As if that shell did not just completely eviscerate everybody who was inside the tank. Nevertheless, not too bad. We put in a couple of rounds into the Hummel. He survives, however, and our T-29 shuts him down. Maybe I should have loaded a high explosive shell there to take the Hummel out. Maybe a bit of a misplay there by me, but nevertheless, a cracking round in my all-time favorite vehicle in World of Tanks. And I had to have a Comet replay in time for Christmas, right, ladies and gentlemen? I haven't commentated on this tank in a year now. So a pretty okay game here for the Comet, showcasing just why I absolutely adore this vehicle through the ages and why I consistently seem to do well in this tank. In fact, this was my 1000th game in the vehicle. The only tank that I've played more of is, of course, the M48A5 pattern. It's not a bad round here. Radley Walters medal for our 8 kills, 3,800 damage, nets as a high caliber, and we also get a scout medal. Did we just scrape it? Yes, just. Spotting 9. That's what that 380 meters view range, combined with good crew skills, coated optics, will be able to nail for you. What I've always loved about this tank is that even when I'm in a tier 8 or a tier 9 matchup, well, I certainly wasn't in this game, that you can still play that scouting role. And did we lose credits here? Well, we spent a fair bit on ammunition, but make 20,000 profit, which should afford those premium consumables. But ladies and gentlemen, before I wrap up, I must give a massive, heartfelt thanks to you, my epic community, for yesterday raising £23,195 in 12 hours for special effect and cancer research. And if you include gift aid as well, that's $24,000. And if you think pounds are monopoly money, well, no, that is $32,000. And so that means that as a community, over the last 5 years, we have raised over £100,000 for some amazing causes. And so thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you, to us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting these two causes at this time of the year, and as I said, throughout the year. And I hope all of you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down, and let me know in the comments what is your favorite tank and why. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.